Swimming in your world, something spiritual. I'm born again every time you spend the night. Alright, we're catching up on Fantasia Music Evolved, the game that I played a little bit last year at E3, and I got to see sort of an early stage of the game. You've been working very hard on it since then. Probably the most diverse range of music ever in a game.
Yeah, probably.
So what's been going on through this year, and sort of what are you showcasing here at E3?
Yeah, last year we were blown away by people's responses. I mean, we'd worked pretty hard on the game to that point, and the thing that was really positive was the soundtrack and a really like a new way of playing with music games that people hadn't seen before. What we didn't kind of take into account was how weird and strange our game was going to be, and like, oh, we've got to explain that to people. So for the last year, we've made a lot of like mechanical polish, like really brought the game up to where we wanted it to be, but really sort of worked on this adventure, this story, this whole idea that you're the sorcerer's apprentice. You get to be Mickey Mouse, you get to conduct magic and wield the magic of music on this adventure.
I think what threw a lot of people was the fact that it's a Fantasia game, but it's not a literal interpretation of what Fantasia is. Not the typical video game adaptation that you'd see. Yeah. It's more of the spirit of Fantasia, if you will. That's what's trying to capture here.
I think you nailed it, which is like great, because we spent a lot of time in the archives, and we're looking at Disney. We have access to a lot of historical material. And what Walt was trying to do, what the team was trying to do back then, was create what they called an adventure in color, sound, and motion. And that was really where that got jumping off point. We knew we didn't want to make the game like an interactive version of the movie. That wouldn't have been cool. But we wanted to really be genuinely connected to what they were trying to create, and really, but make it for now. Make it for the 21st century, where the audience is different. This is about you expressing yourself and then having a relationship with music that you've never been able to have before.
It's a very different sort of Harmonix game as well, because Harmonix is typically, you've got to hit the cues, you got to do that sort of in the right way. This is more of a freedom of expression kind of experience with music, I'd say.
The nice thing is you can do both, right? We give you this sort of play system with remixes and different instruments that allows you to sort of create a version of a song you love, but in a way that's unique to you. And then you can share that, you can put that on YouTube, you can send it to your mom and say, hey, I made this is really cool, or something like that. But we also have very, very tight score system. Like, it can be very competitive, multiplayer can get quite competitive. You know, there's a lot of detail we give you, and so the challenge you get in the song is very flexible depending on the musical choices you make. So we're hoping, you know, people play it in different ways, and that's really what we wanted to do when we started the project.
And I suppose you've also had more time to explore with the new Kinect and sort of harvest all the stuff that's in there. From what I hear from developers, it's really a step up from what was there with Xbox 360.
Yeah, no, it was hard to imagine, but when we started the project, the Kinect 2, as we know it, didn't exist, and the Xbox One didn't exist as we know it today. And we made a lot of educated guesses about how we would be able to do it. The nice thing is on 360 and Xbox One, the game works pretty much the same. We've made the same game, the same experience for people, and that was important to us. The cool thing about Xbox One is it's so precise. And that allowed us to get really tight with the timing, really tight with the accuracy. And it's, you know, for me as a player, it's hard to go back to 360 now after playing on the One for so long. You're like, oh, it's the same game, but it just doesn't have that razor's edge of play that you get used to, which is brilliant.
Sort of like the controller, I guess it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Kinect, that once you've gone across to the new one, you don't want to go back.
No, you know, like people, we've had a lot of time to get really good on controllers, and you know, anyone who's really into games understanding the timing is when you get to video games, timing is the essence. Rhythm timing, doesn't matter what the genre is, precision timing is like makes a great game from a good game. And Xbox One's kind of allowed us to do that with this and really go from, I mean, we think it's pretty great and regardless of the platform, but the Kinect 2 really does change the experience for people. And you know, we're still in the early stages. I don't think people really understand what Kinect can do. And we may be the first game that really set out to make something that never been done before and could only be done by, you know, waving your hands around like a crazy person.
So we've been getting the sort of the occasional drops of this. These are 5 new songs. This is a new area. You've dropped some of that during this year. That you. And what's the overall scope of the project, and sort of what can we expect when it hits stores?
Yeah, well, we announced that we are definitely hitting stores on October the 21st, so that's out there. There are 10 realms, so you've seen the drops of each one of those worlds is what we call a realm. Yeah. The adventure goes over 10 of them. They're all very imaginative, very unique, very different, and there are more than 30 songs across that experience. And then we have an idea for a DLC program that's not just songs, but also new mixes for songs that you already own. So for us, it's still a big rabbit hole we can go down and try lots of crazy stuff. We still haven't found the end yet, but that's what will be on the disc.
And everything from Mozart to Nicki Minaj.
Centuries of music, as we like to say. Everything from, you know, like classical, which we recorded in London with the London Symphony Orchestra at Abbey Road, which was a brilliant experience, but all the way up to like some of the latest ones we announced were Lords and Radioactive, you know, and Coldplay, some of the later hits there. So we wanted to have, I mean, not just the songs, but also the way in which we do the remixes. You know, you can actually take all of these songs in lots of different ways and kind of make them your own. That's kind of the whole idea of the game.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to playing it October 21st.
Come back and play. We'll do multiplayer. You can see if you can beat me, because I'm really good.
I'm sure you can.
All right, thanks. Good to see you. Thanks for coming over.